Good evening everyone, it's your man of the hour, the man with the power, the living legend of video game vloggery. Hello, my name is Lee Hazell and this is the Fight Like a Podcast working title, and joining me this week we have James Toal and we're here to discuss this year's best E3 demos. Hey James, how you doing?
Exhausted.
Exhausted? What have you been up to? Oh yeah, you've been taking your grandparents to the airport.
Yeah, it's fun when you have to deal with the stress of holiday planning and yet you don't have a holiday at the end of it, so... Great fun.
I have just been sat here doing work, endless amounts of transcribing and editing and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think I need a bit of escapism. So I'm going to ask you...
No. Get your own taxi.
Okay, guys, am I right? So we're going to discuss 5 games each. I've got 5 games. James has got 5 games. So I'm going to start off with James. We're going to alternate between these. In the middle, we're going to talk about some of the things we found disappointing. I actually have to say, James, a few of the things that you want to discuss are going to be things I'll probably bring up when you bring up the games that you liked. So yeah.
Is this where the podcast ends now? It's just going to end with us fighting in a blood feud.
Yeah, probably.
Xbox was better. Oh,
I am over that now. I got rid of that when I was 28. Anyway.
My first game, which is probably considered to be the most surprising appearance of all to be free this year, was Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah, wow, that's a good one. So James, are you excited for this?
I am. I'll admit I didn't play the game when it initially came out, but I was recommended of it highly by other people and friends, and I thought, yeah, I'd give it a go. So when the HD version came out on PS3, I gave it a go, and it's definitely one of my favorite games. I had a great time playing it, and it ended on a cliffhanger. And so I was thinking, oh, okay, so this sets up perfectly for a sequel. And then nothing happened.
Nothing 15 happened. Years.
For 15 years. And it got teased, it just got previewed. It's like we had a trailer at one point, and then nothing came from that.
Yep. And
then till eventually everyone just thought it was dead, which is probably the safest assumption at that point.
They've been saying that they've been working on it for I would say since at least 2010.
They've just been strict. Ubisoft, that is. Ubisoft have been stringing along people on this, is it going to happen? Oh, could it happen?
Oh, it'll happen if you buy the HD remake, which is actually the first time I played Beyond Good and Evil myself. So I thought I did my bit, where is my sequel? Where is this game? I've brought this HD remake. I've gotten all the way up to the cliffhanger. I'm as pissed off as everybody else is now. Where's my fucking sequel? And what have they done? They've given us a prequel. Like the woman in that spaceship who looks like Jade is clearly going to be her mother or some kind of matriarchal figure, and they're not even resolving the story that they didn't finish telling in the first game. What the fuck?
Yeah, I made this point on my notes, is that the fact we're waiting for a sequel and we're getting a prequel, but I feel like there's definitely a business mindset behind that, because if they were to release an actual sequel now, it would probably not get the amount of numbers Ubisoft would be hoping for. Whereas if they start fresh and reintroduce people and maybe get a whole new audience into this world,
and then we could wait another 15 years for the third installment.
Yep.
Making it 15. Making it 3 decades until we actually resolve the story set out in the first game.
I can guarantee one thing, though. It'll definitely come out earlier than Half-Life 3.
Do you know what? I genuinely this was the first year, the absolute first year in which I made no prediction about Half-Life 3. I'm not disappointed we haven't seen anything on Half-Life 3. And then because Valve are basically now, we don't make games anymore, we make a platform for people to buy games. I'm confident that Half-Life 3 is never, ever going to happen now. It will never happen. At least not with Valve.
Yeah, I definitely put that to bed. I think it was a year or two ago. I was just I just can't be asked I can't be asked for the memes anymore, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
God. It's the
But
most
Beyond Good,
tedious joke in all of video games right now, and that is up against some stiff competition. Dear Lord, there are some tedious jokes going on in this industry right now.
and that's not enough talking about the Wii U. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is rumored to be a timed Switch exclusive. This didn't appear at the conference at all, but due to like certain sources like Laura K. Buzz, it could be a timed exclusive. Again, there's no confirmation of that yet, but
Yes.
it would be interesting if that was the case.
Yeah, well, it means I'd have to hold off buying it for a while. Actually, no, I gotta say, like, something we're gonna discuss later. I'm definitely buying a Switch at some point. I kind of have to.
One of them has piqued your interest.
Yeah, one of these things has really piqued my interest. Yeah, so with the with the deal they've currently got going on for this other game that we're going to be discussing later on down the line, yeah, it kind of seems like this is maybe part and parcel of the deal that Nintendo are now trying to pull with a few other publishers as well, trying to get the third party support for the Switch rolling, seeing as how it kind of desperately needs it, as the last 3 or 4 Nintendo consoles have desperately needed it. But I think now they may be getting the message on that.
Yeah, definitely. And it feels like the Switch right now. We'll probably talk more about the Switch later, but it feels like the Switch has definitely got more of a home now, more of a foundation to build on. So
Absolutely,
I'm very happy about that. No one wants to see them fail.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing Nintendo fail. I don't take pleasure in that.
No, not at all.
That Wii U joke came from a place of sadness because I had a Wii U.
Oh, did you have a Wii U? I kept saying, oh, I'll get it later. I'll get it in a while. I'll get it because, like, seriously, right now, there's about in the entire library of the whole Wii U, there's about 6 games I want to get. Mario 3D Land, Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, Bayonetta 2, Wonderful 101, and I can't even think of the other 2 at this moment. Like, I think, was Xenoblade Chronicles, was that one of them? Was that a Wii U game? Because I think that might be one.
I think so, yeah. And Smash Brothers.
Yeah, and Smash Brothers. Oh, I've never really been that into... Oh, Mario Kart was probably the other one.
Oh,
yeah,
Mario
I don't really...
Kart 8.
I don't really do Smash Brothers, but I do Mario Kart, and I absolutely love that one. Yeah.
God.
So anyway, this is unfortunately where I have to start disagreeing with you. Hopefully it won't be too much of a feature throughout this evening. The thing that I thought about this game, a lot of people want this game. A lot of people have wanted this game since the last one ended on a cliffhanger. And the problem is that game is so entrenched in people's minds as this stone cold classic, so beloved. Not only do I think a sequel can't possibly live up to the lofty ideals the fanbase has for this game, I don't think the original holds up to the lofty ideals the fanbase of Beyond Good and Evil has for Beyond Good and Evil. When I saw this demo, my feelings were vindicated. Because my god, that trailer was such a sharp left turn from the tone of the original game. Just one of the most gentle, one of the most family, not kid-friendly, but family-friendly games I have ever seen in my entire life. The kind of game that if I had kids, I would like to sit them down in front of that and say, right, okay, here is your introduction to 3D gaming. But this one, I don't remember there being a single swear word in the original game. The trailer for this had 5 F-bombs in the first 30 seconds. And they kept coming, they kept continuing. He starts out with the word fucking, he ends up with the word motherfucker. This is repeated over and over and over again. Tone in a video game is important. And when you make such a massive departure from this, it sets alarm bells off. They've tried to turn this game... I really think this is some sort of marketing decision that has been made to try and make this game more adult, more gritty, to appeal to a more mainstream, open-world audience, to make it a little bit more Far Cry, a little less Jak and Daxter, a little less Ratchet and Clank, which is kind of what that original game, that the sort of age rating for that was before. Okay, it was 15 years ago that game came out. That means if you were 15 then you'd be 30 now. And maybe they're trying to grow the game with the audience. But it's such a jarring turn for me. I mean, I know a lot of people have said, right, calm down about the swearing, it's not that important. I'm sorry, I think that tone is what made that game so special. I think the fact that it was so different to everything else, to all of the bloodthirsty games that were currently populating that market. And I think if you take that away, you use one of the most unique and special things about Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from, and I'm cautiously optimistic about what's going to happen with this game, because if that monkey is going to be following me all the time, then I may have to put the mute button on. I'm just thinking because we've got a fresh start, we want to try some new things, and then they're probably thinking as well, let's try and see how we can push the envelope with some elements.
Yeah.
And some aspects that may not work, especially with the swearing. I'll agree, it did feel jarring.
Yeah. Oh god, that monkey was annoying in the first 30 seconds. How annoying is he going to be after 13 hours?
Oh god, I just want it to be good, Lee. Can't you make it good?
I'm sorry for crushing your hopes and your dreams.
But I'm going to put on the disappointments now. I'm kidding, it's still going to be up there. I'm still going to pay for it when it comes out because I'm trash.
Okay, dude. So, right, the first game I want to discuss, Skull and Crossbones. Now,
Yes.
this is only at the top of my list. In fact, this was almost on the disappointments. Because when they started discussing it, when they actually said, when the rumours were going around before E3 that Ubisoft had this pirate game to discuss, I thought it was going to be like a single-player pirate RPG that succeeds, where all of the Raven's Cry and the Risen games on the PC have miserably failed. Like, the pirate RPG has been something that's been bandied about for forever now, and it's never been good, and that's what I wanted this to be. And then it turns out it's a 4-on-4 or it's a 5-on-5, something like that, naval combat game. And instantly I decided to start looking at my phone instead of watching the rest of the trailer. But then I started seeing how cool, amazing, awesome these pirate combat missions were. These multiplayer maps where you're trying to turn your ship around, where you're trying to fire at the enemy, where the waves are coming over the top, where you've got to try and fix your boat. It looked epic, it looked amazing, and it looked like a hell of a good time.
Yeah, it definitely. I'm assuming this wasn't an accident. That it looked very similar to Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
I think they've got a lot of the assets out of that. Like, I think they've been ripped almost straight from that game, in fact. And
if they want to make a game around that, then that's perfectly fine. They should have had that as the multiplayer of Assassin's Creed 4 in general.
Yeah.
But hey, I love that. That's great.
I mean, that's another one of my disappointing pirate games, because I would have loved that game to have been in its own series, but the fact that it was an Assassin's Creed game, and I'll be honest, I'm not an Assassin's Creed fan. I played the first hour of the first 4 games when, with PlayStation Plus, Sony used to do those little hour-long trials. I just could never get into the combat. I could never get into the platforming. Like, the key aspects of those gameplay were just so jarring to me. I just could never get into the series. But yeah, I would want a Black Flag without the Assassin's Creed stuff attached to it. I would like a Black Flag that was more like Shadow of Mordor, or was like more Batman Arkham City, something like that. That would have been amazing to me.
The only thing that's really, well, I'm probably going to expect it in this game is going to be the microtransaction heavy element, which might pull it down a few points for me.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm not sure what this game is going to be priced, and I'm not sure how much else you're going to have to spend to try and round out and make your experience more complete and more robust.
It's just if you end up having to like pay for like ammo, for say like cannonballs, or say like, oh, we need more sales, you better wait this long to get some more, or you could pay to get some quicker. It's like, oh great, I won't even want to pay more after paying £60 bloody pounds.
Oh well, let's hope they keep that at the AAA experience. I mean, like, if they put that on mobile, sure, whatever, I'm not going to play that anyway, but if they put that into a £60 AAA experience, that's going to kill the game stone dead, just like it did in games like Evolve, just like it did in Siege, which apparently they fixed Siege, but nobody cares because you missed the window of opportunity to make that game good in the first place.
Well, I did like the I don't know if that was a tease, if at the end of the trailer when they teased it was like a giant sea monster.
Yeah.
If you're like battling, so like getting a group together of pirates and beating this giant monster like it's in Monster Hunter or something, and then
Or even-
I'd be on board with that.
Even just the single player mode, maybe? Just for guys like me who kind of don't really want to spend most of their time looking for matches and trying to have to fit their schedule around another group of friends to play the game, kind of want to play my game on my own terms sort of thing. That's kind of what I would really like.
Yeah, I would definitely appreciate it if they did a single player, but I do like multiplayer based games at the moment anyway. I mean, my favorite one right now is Overwatch. I mean,
Yeah.
that's so good. And they don't technically get away with microtransactions, but they sort of have more of a positive aspect to it.
Yeah,
and you can earn them as you can earn credits as you play more quicker.
Cool. So James, what's the next game you want to discuss?
The next game I want to talk about is Spider-Man. I don't know if that's Marvel subtitle Spider-Man, but it just said Spider-Man.
Jesus, James, you're just like top-ending all of the games that I've got complaints about. Okay, let me see what, because I've only got complaints with half of this demo. So yeah, let's see what you liked about it.
All right, so for anyone that knows me, I'm a Spider-Man fan. I've been a fan since I was a kid, and pretty much I liked Spider-Man now. So seeing after we haven't had a decent Spider-Man game since Spider-Man 2 on the PS2 and other stuff, that's in 2004. That's how long ago it was. And arguably there was another game that came after called Ultimate Spider-Man, which I thought was way better, but no one talks about. Anyway,
was that the one that you had 4 different time periods of Spider-Man?
No, that's Shattered Dimensions, I believe.
Okay.
That was more recent. The Ultimate Spider-Man came like a year later.
Okay.
And that was one where you played as Venom as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we haven't had a good game since then. So that's at least a decade.
Oh wow, was it that long ago? Seriously?
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
And after I played that Amazing Spider-Man 2, which came out with a tie-in for the movie, and I felt severely depressed about it because it had some fan service going into it. It definitely felt like there was some fan heavy interaction with it, especially with the amount of costumes and the amount of different content that was there. But ultimately, it just felt like a soulless shell of what it is. Now this comes along, Insomniac
Are bloody good.
Insomniac rarely make a bad game, and it looks good, and it's a new Spider-Man costume. And when you actually see the gameplay, to me, that just suits me right there. And yes, I can see the resemblance to other games of that genre. Like,
we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Yeah.
But overall, it looks like how you would want Spider-Man to play as. It looks. I want to get a play of it at one point, but just from what I can see, it should feel like how you should feel when you play Spider-Man. If this is when you're swinging around the city, that's how you should feel. When you're zipping across and gluing someone to the ground, that's how it should feel.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know what it plays like because we haven't actually got a demo of it. I mean, if anyone at Insomniac wants to send one, then I wouldn't have a problem. But overall, I'm just excited that we might actually have a good one this time around.
Yeah. Now, see, here's my problem. I know the game you're referring to when you talk about other games is Arkham City. It is clearly Arkham City that they're going for.
Just the Arkham games in general.
Yeah, and it's like one of the things that I was so excited for, and pretty much for a lot of other games and a lot of other properties since Arkham came out, is, this is how Arkham does Batman. I wonder how all of the other games adapt their superheroes. And for a lot of games, and not just superhero games, but things like Shadow of Mordor, Sleeping Dogs was another one. There's a few that have taken.
It's definitely been influential.
But this was so Batman Arkham Asylum. The way that your character perches upon scaffolding, like the way that Batman perched upon the gargoyles in that first game, the way that and then you get onto the ground and you get into the combat and you are fighting, you're throwing punches, and then all of a sudden one of the henchmen, there's a symbol that comes up above his head, and then you have to press a button to react to the guy whose symbol come up above his head. And it's just so many of these things just scream Batman to me. I've played 4 of those games now. I've played Origins, City, Asylum. Why did I choose Origins first there? Why did I say the worst one first?
You have a sweetheart for the.
I feel charitable towards Montreal. So yeah, but it's just like I don't want every game to suddenly be Arkham, because I'm kind of done with that. Because and it's not just those games. It's for all of the great innovation that Shadow of War had, basically the gameplay was a mixture of Assassin's Creed's platforming and Arkham City's combat. And I'm kind of over that now, and I want to see what else we can do. I want to see what else we've got up our sleeves. Like, look at something like the Horizon Zero Dawn, and how much different they did combat in that game to a load of other games. The Dark Souls series, Nioh, Nier Automata recently. Like, I want to see different combat mechanics used. I want to see different ways that we can do that. And it's just, this one screamed Batman Arkham City to me in so many different ways that I'm just really worried that the game's going to come off as incredibly derivative. The chase section at the end, the web slinging, fantastic, amazing, brilliant.
I don't really have a big issue with how it imitates Arkham's gameplay, because to me it looks different enough, and like the moves variety itself looks so unique to Spider-Man's sort of aerobic and flippy shit style. There's the mark coming out of me. It just seems to work. It seems to work with the style itself. And yes, they did a similar thing with the last 2 Spider-Man games, where they copied the Arkham style, and it did look very nice in that. In that one, it did get repetitive, especially when they threw the same enemies at you all the time. You know, you got the small dude, and then you got the slightly bigger dude, and then you got the guy that you need to like block, and then do
they
this
even
other
had
stuff.
that, like at the end of the helicopter chase scene, they even had like the big dude who like had pumped himself for the drugs. I'm thinking to myself, Michael, like, did you not realise just how closely you're following the template that Rocksteady put down?
But they did say that this is a completely unique story, not based off any of the comics. So
no, it's just based off of Arkham Knight.
All right.
Oh, cool, nice one. So for me next, and this has actually got something of a caveat towards it, unless I can find someone to play it with. Oh, no, wait. I have completely mixed this up. I thought the next one was going to be A Way Out. It's actually Artful Escape. 2 very similar titles. They both begin with A. They both denote breaking out of prison. But this one's incredibly different. And in fact, I think we should give people... Have you seen the trailer for this one, James?
That one kind of slipped by me.
Okay.
It disappeared.
We will give the viewers right now a chance to catch up on that trailer while you do, because you need to see this in order to be able to talk about it seriously. It's only a trailer. We're not going to talk for long, but it looks really cool.
I don't know what the game is, but I want it.
Yeah. Right, okay, so to give it its full title, The Artful Escape of Francis Vendetti. The Artful Escape of Francis Vendetti is what appears to be an indie-centric platformer with an amazing art style about a teenage folk singer, a folk guitarist, who has this amazing surreal adventure as he tries to escape the mundanity of his own life. It looks really awesome. It looks really cool. Yeah, The Last Night was gonna be in this slot, but there are the reasons I'm not going to go into. Maybe reasons that will surprise you, not the reasons everybody else has been going on about, but in disappointments, I'll definitely have a look at Last Night. But yeah, like this one, you play a guitar. It actually kind of reminded me of there's a platforming game that came out for, I think it was Xbox. The Xbox had this really cool little movement it did, where it had like indie games, and you could basically make your own indie games. You could put it up on Xbox, charge about $1 a piece for anyone who wanted to download. And one of the games on there was a platforming game that you could play with a Guitar Hero guitar. And the character had a guitar in their hand, and you controlled them entirely with the guitar. You could also control them with the controller, but where the hell was the fun in that? And it looks really good, and this kind of reminded me of that. And it's like this just really weird, surreal musical adventure, kind of like this year's sort of A Night in the Woods, or maybe Oxenfree, something like that, something really narrative-based, something that's more about the experience going through it than it is the journey, and that art style just looks amazing.
I love the added touch at the end when it said, coming when it's damn ready.
Yes, I like that, because that should be a lot of developers' attitudes, you know. If Mass Effect Andromeda, for example, didn't have to get out in time for EA's fiscal year bumping up their stock prices and things like that, that would have been a much better game than it turned out to be. As it stood, it was a technical and, let's face it, a bit of a creative mess as well. Anyway.
That is a trailer worth watching with headphones on, because goddamn.
The soundtrack is really cool as well, isn't it? Yeah.
It can send you on a trip.
Yeah. Anyway, dude, what's your third game you want to discuss?
My third game is Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus.
Oh, yeah.
Wolfenstein is a brilliant shooter of this decade. I don't know if it's the best one, but it's definitely up there.
Ashamedly, I have to say, it is one of the games that I currently own, but it is in my Steam library and has yet to be downloaded.
It is one of the games where I am so happy and content to just mow down Nazis with double-barreled shotguns running around like a 2-year-old in a sugar-crazy mayhem. If you thought Doom was good, it just keeps building on. Wolfenstein was good. Doom built on from that and just went even crazier. So now we see this trailer, which looks absolutely goddamn insane.
Yeah.
That I'm all in on it. I'm
a woman pregnant with twins, being a killing machine, mowing down Nazis like they're freshly cut grass. Like, oh.
And I did like the initial opening of the trailer. It did sort of throw a curveball at you. You didn't see it coming. And then I would actually like to see more of Liesel. And wasn't there like a parody of what's that other black and white show, the one with the Andy Griffith Show? Was that like a parody of it? Like, join the Hitler Youths.
I was almost certain that this was going to be announcing like Fallout 4 DLC when I first saw that, but yeah, no, that was
Then you saw the giant robot lion and thought, yep, this is great. Oh god, I'm just going to be curious what sort of new elements that they put into this game, like because they're going to put in a crazy weapon in there just so you can go hog wild.
Yeah, well, that was the kind of thing, like, I think, for all, like, it was a very stripped-down shooter, it was a bit of a basic shooter. So I would like to hear them, I would like to see them layer in more and more gameplay elements, like, maybe, I don't know, like a bit of an RPG element, maybe a sort of open-world thing, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that would be good. I'm just hoping that with the story itself, that they try and gear it towards more of the gameplay than the story, because the story itself is quite absurd. Yeah. But if they balance it really well with the gameplay, then we could have a possible Game of the Year contender.
Yeah. I mean, like, this is how I want my World War II shooters to be. This is how I want my Nazi shooters to be. I don't want to get bogged down in like the nitty gritty of World War II, because quite frankly, a video game, as they are right now, with the kind of design philosophy that is behind most video games, they're never going to do that justice. This is the way that you get to mow down Nazis in a game that is going to do that premise more justice. The whole alternative history, more fun history, more exploitation, 1970s cinema history. That's what I want.
I just want Inglourious Bastards the game. Is that too hard?
You almost had Inglourious Bastards the game, remember? Like, the new the Brothers in Arms game very much looked like that before they cancelled its development.
Oh, I didn't even know they were going to make a Brothers in Arms game. But then again, that's probably why.
Yeah. Yeah, Gearbox had a bit of a troublesome period where they brought out Aliens versus Predators, and after that they kind of had to double down on Borderlands and cancel everything else they were doing.
Don't even talk about Aliens Colonial Marines.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, Aliens Colonial Marines, yeah.
I bought that.
Oh, you're joking.
This is when the trailers looked fine.
Yeah.
And I bought it, I'm like, what the hell is this?
Mm-hmm.
This isn't what I bought.
This isn't what they promised you.
No, this isn't what they promised me. And then I never trust another developer ever again.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to buy Beyond Good and Evil 2, so
yeah,
maybe I haven't learned my lesson.
Okay, cool. So the next one I want to discuss, Shadow of War. This looks good. This looks really good. Like, this is basically what I want a sequel to be. A sequel that retains all of the good stuff about the original game and adds layer upon it. So, like, this one's got Fortress gameplay.
Yeah.
This one has you, and then the last one had the Nemesis system. This one has an ally system. This one has a loyalty system, so you're not just randomly picking up different guys to fight against. You're picking up random guys to fight alongside, and that's going to be really awesome. And there's going to be some guys who you defeat in battle who are going to try and get their revenge on you instead of it just being you trying to get revenge on everybody else who killed you. That's going to be awesome. Like, imagine one of your fallen enemies coming back at you the second you're trying to defeat somebody else you're having a really hard time against. Like, the narrative... Like, the way they're trying to get you to carve out your own narrative in these games is really awesome, is really kind of, like, weird as well, considering the current philosophies behind game design, behind scripting in game design, which I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, like, this game just is brimming with possibilities. I want to play it. I want to play it twice, 3 times, and find out all the possibilities that this game has.
Yeah, this franchise has an interesting history itself, because when Shadow of Mordor came out, there were people initially being paid to say the game was good, but the game was good.
The game was really. They didn't have to do that at all. No.
I mean, guys, I can do that. I'm doing it for free. What's going on?
Yeah.
Pay
us money.
When they announced the game, I was definitely interested, especially after they brought in the. This is the trailer beforehand when they had the trailer of the Welsh orc.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I was like, okay, all right.
And now they've got an Aussie orc, and he's even better.
Oh my god! I'm hoping, but because I'm glad that this kind of drifts away from Lord of the Rings canon, because then they can try and do their own thing and then not get judged. Because they say, hey, it's a spin-off, it's not canon, it doesn't matter. So we can go up to Sauron and then poop in his face, la 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 la.
Well, I mean, if there is one thing that I kind of was a little bit down on in the first game, it's that the game didn't once try to be Tolkienish whatsoever. It kind of just tried to be very video game like. Trying to avenge your dead wife and family, lopping off heads left, right, and centre. That isn't Tolkien lore, but that is very much the standard gameplay system and storyline of every single video game for the last 2 decades.
And now we can ride dragons. That is a thing. I'm so happy that's a thing.
I'm fine with that. I am fine laying siege to an orcish horde, to an orcish fortress with a dragon. I am fine with that.
And like you said before, that you can make certain allies in the game, and then some of them may turn out to backstab you. But the fact that you could get
betrayal as well is an awesome thing. Yeah, you
could get a wisecracking ally by your side and be like, buddy, we're gonna storm this castle together with your arm by your side. Like, let's do this, bro.
Me and you, buddy. Me and you. We're gonna do this together, man. We're gonna lay siege to this place, man. And everybody's gonna be like, they're gonna be like, oh, don't kill us. And we're gonna be like, no, yeah.
I want to hear your Let's Play now. As soon as the game comes out, I'm just gonna be listening. Like, yep, I can tell Lee's having a good time.
Cool, dude. Cool, yeah, man. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna take a quick break right now, and we're gonna come back with our disappointments and the other 2 games that we'd like to mention. Okay, so anyway, we've discussed a few things that we really liked about this year's E3, and I've argued my point that actually some of those things were actually quite crap. But we are now going to go on to our disappointments currently with the current games industry and what E3 has been showing. James, was you particularly disappointed by anything?
Some of these were less like disappointments and more like wariness to, like, because I'm not sure whether these will be good or not, but right now I'm not feeling overall positive towards it. So yeah, I guess you could say they're disappointments.
Okay, cool. Any specifics?
Well, the first one I've got on my list is Detroit, not the city.
Oh, okay, yeah, I would really like to hear what you don't like about this one, because Detroit was actually almost in my top 5.
I have oh god, David Cage. I want to like your games. It's just really hard to when there's like really blatant flaws that stop me from enjoying it. Fahrenheit, Heavy Rain, that other game you sent me the other day, Omicron.
Omicron, Nomad Soul, yeah. A
Um,
David Cage and David Bowie collaboration. If you've not seen it, if you've not heard of it, I implore you, go out, find the YouTube videos. It is amazing. It's not good. It's amazing.
the soundtrack is good.
Yeah, the soundtrack is great. Yeah, no, yeah.
And most recently, Beyond Two Souls. All
Which
of them
was
feel like
terrible. Which was
yes.
atrocious.
Which all the games to me feel like they have a weird issue when it comes to focus. They don't know what to focus on specifically. Fahrenheit wanted to be this detective sort of solving the mystery of who solved it, and then suddenly work in this supernatural spirit bullshit. Heavy Rain tried to basically do the same thing, a detective story, even though it definitely withheld most of the information to screw you over.
Yeah.
Beyond Two Souls, does anyone really need
Beyond
to
Two
justify?
Souls from conception to execution was crap. Just every idea in it, every single story beat, every single mechanic, even like just basic movement in that game was fundamentally bollocks.
Except for Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe could never do anything wrong.
I don't know. There are some erotic thrillers in the early 90s that I think you should see.
Anyway, back on David Cage. Beyond Two Souls, just again lack of focus, and it was in fact all over the place when it tried to do look, it's a narrative that's everywhere. Ooh, try and follow it. It's like screw you, David Cage. Just because you can do that doesn't mean even the narrative was hard to follow in general. You didn't need to mix it up. And now he's moved on to the topic of slavery within AI, which is a subject that has been covered before. Mm-hmm. I'm just wary of how he's going to tackle it.
Yeah, he didn't
because I've seen how he's tackled other things.
He didn't exactly, like, when he tackled child murder, it wasn't exactly a triumph.
No, I would have to agree on that one. And it's just the acting in most of his games, they just seem so stilted and so they're just there to get a paycheck and then go.
Yeah.
Unless you're a big Hollywood star,
yeah,
you're gonna give like at least some of a crap at what you're doing. Most of these other guys are just there just because they're there.
Well, remember like Heavy Rain, like he made the game in France, set the game in America, but hired French actors to do American accents. And some of them had very questionable American accents, and the effort they were putting into them varied between character and character.
Hello, I am Madison Page.
Oh, Jesus.
that went a bit Tim Curry there for some reason.
Impressions aren't your strong suit, James.
No, they are. That's my second career. What's one of your disappointments, Lee?
I'll just say something about that previous one. But the thing with me in Detroit is that, and this happened every single David Cage game. I know I'm falling for it again, but every single time he demos or he brings out a trailer for a new game of his, I buy into it. And unfortunately, last year, the detective scene for Detroit that he brought out at last year's Sony E3 press conference, I was back in again. I tried to get out, they keep pulling me back in. It happened again. I'm on board for this one. I like the way it looks, and I really want the narrative to come home this time. Because the first time you saw the first glimpse of Detroit was at this really awesome PlayStation 4 tech demo where you were seeing one of these things get assembled, and that was the best thing that guy has ever written. And I kind of want to see that again. And I think, I think this one might be the one where he breaks it, and it isn't going to be, and I'm going to be disappointed again. But yeah, I'm on board with it.
That's the David Cage style, baby.
Yeah, and okay, so my disappointment. There was about 3 or 4 times in a row in Sony's press conference, and then I realised that this was the same for all of the press conferences, where they have really gotten down the fine art of taking gameplay and doing their magic to it in their programming, of making it look like a movie, when in reality it doesn't play like that at all. I cannot trust any of these demos because I've been burned too many times before. Days Gone was an example of a demo that looked way too scripted to have any kind of player agency in it whatsoever, as did Metro Exodus, as did Uncharted Lost Legacy, and God of War. All of these games look really scripted. Like, none of them look like they play what they're going to look like when they come out, and I kind of want more transparency in my game demos these days.
Yeah, I can definitely agree to that.
Yeah.
But what was fun about Uncharted, I think wasn't last year, was it? Uncharted came out, but when they were previewing Uncharted that one year,
yeah,
and the tech bug happened, and it just left Nathan Drake standing
real.
there.
That was actually how the game played out, and you could tell that was real gameplay footage. But these days, they get rid of the HUD. They pin together 4 or 5 different scripted sequences. And
they use YouTube players.
Yeah, I don't even think that they've got people playing these games. This is characters who are being moved around by the source code. Somebody isn't using a controller to do this. Somebody is getting into the code of the game, and they are forcing these characters to do these actions. And I think it's really dishonest. And I want to see what these games actually play like. Because look at Horizon Zero Dawn, for example. The first time you saw that game is actually nothing like what it ended up playing like. But when it came out, it was fantastic. It was amazing. And the fact that it was so scripted in the E3 press conferences in years past actually made me really worried about it. And it turned out it exceeded all of my expectations. I hope that's what happens here with God of War. I hope that's what happens here with Days Gone. But at the moment, I'm pessimistic.
Yeah, I was going to agree just to one of your points, to one of the games that you actually brought up, was a game that actually kind of disappointing me at the moment, is God of War.
What is disappointing you about that, James?
I'm wary of the fact that it feels like they're trying to trying to be The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Now, being The Last of Us is not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. But this I guess it's kind of hypocritical, like from me saying about Spider-Man and you saying about Batman. Mm. But I just feel like God of War itself already has a set play style, already has a set play style that works and that you can build on and try and be more creative with it. And I just watched the gameplay trailer and I'm just thinking, where's the fun? Where's the bombastic, crazy, blood-fueled, gore fest that was the last few games? I mean, the last God of War game I played was God of War Ascension, and I can't remember where that is in the timeline, but that was a great game. That was just fun.
Yeah,
and even surprisingly with Kratos as a character, he's being portrayed as this great father. Kid, your dad pretty much killed most of the world in God of War 3.
And before
he murdered people. He's not just murdered one person, not 2 people, but millions.
Yeah.
Millions. And now they're portraying him as don't worry, son, I'll look after you. like he's some reformed person. No. You have committed genocide, sir. Genocide. You do not get a free pass. Mm-hmm. There has to be consequences.
And he will face those consequences. I think this is going to be the end of Kratos, and that kid is going to take up his mantle.
Yeah, but then why? If that's the case, what's the next game going to be called? Because you can't call it God of War.
Well, yeah, but then
everyone knows who the God of War is. It's Kratos.
Yeah, but not in the Norse mythology.
Who's the God of War in the Norse mythology? Do they have a God of War there?
Odin.
Odin, he's the God of War in that.
So you kill Odin in Norse mythology, and the kid takes up the mantle of God of War, or maybe the kid's Thor and has to beat the God of War, has to beat Odin, or maybe Kratos becomes Odin. I don't know. There's a myriad of possibilities. I want to see how the game works properly without the whole scripted stuff going on in it. But I will say, I don't mind the fact that it's changed its gameplay so dramatically, and I'll tell you why. Counting every single game in the God of War franchise so far. There are 6 of them. I've played all of them. I don't need another one. I'm over it, just like I'm over the Batman stuff. I'm over the Batman combat, the Batman platforming. I'm over what God of War brought to the table. I want to see where else God of War can go. And I think I saw some bits and pieces that show a little bit more of a Dark Souls kind of edge, maybe a little more exploration like there was in Rise of the Tomb Raider. I'm more excited for this game than I am pessimistic. I am still a little bit pessimistic though.
I think that's what this industry's done to us though. It's kind of made us doubt ourselves and doubt our emotions. Thanks, gaming industry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I definitely looked at this like with definitely a more cynical eye than usual, especially after like every single year for the past 4 or 5 years, I think. Ubisoft has come out on their press conference, and at the end they've brought out a brand new IP. And the brand new IP comes out with this big like buzz. Everyone looks at it, everyone thinks it's amazing, it's going to be the next big thing in gaming. Watch Dogs was very mediocre and boring. Division turned out to be a Destiny ripoff. Destiny with car keys. Who the hell asked for that? Steep wasn't much. Wildlands turned out to be incredibly buggy, despite the fact that it was an enormous success. Cool. So, anything else you had disappointed you?
It wasn't really a disappointment. It was more wariness. And after looking at more trailers, I may have to come back to it when you talk about it. It is a certain Switch game. I'll have
You'll have your revenge. You will get your vengeance, don't you worry. And for me, the last one, I think in a couple of weeks' time, after all of the impressions about all of the E3 conferences have come out, a lot of PR guys are going to be tearing their hair out. For years now, we have all begged and pleaded the games industry to stop trying to make memes, to stop with the zaniness, to stop with baiting the other companies, to stop with these wild and miraculous claims and promises that they can't live up to. And they did that this year. Every single one of the press conferences was just game after game after game, really good demo after really good demo after really good demo. And ultimately, after the 4 or 5 hours it took for me to sit down and watch all of these things, I was bored. I was bored of just having the exact same thing that I had been asking for the last 4 or 5 years. And I'll tell you, I'll let you know this, guys. Me and James, on our on another channel called Steel Chair Magazine, we do a lot of wrestling content. And this discussion has come up in wrestling content as well. Fans want to see wrestlers having a wrestling match in main events. They don't want to see run-ins. They don't want to see shenanigans. They want to see 2 guys come to a clean finish. 2 guys who are respected in-ring performers who can have a really good match. And what happens when they get it? They get bored. They start chanting derivative, unimaginative bullshit. They start singing. They throw beach balls into the air and start talking about the colour of brightly coloured belts. It's a real mess. And it kind of goes to show that actually what gets wrestling fans really engaged is the shenanigans, is the shock and awe tactics, is the returns, or the swerves and the heel turns and things like that. And the same goes with E3 press conferences. For years, we've wanted nothing but games. We got nothing but games, and I've got nothing to talk about because there wasn't like the really embarrassing moments when the PR companies tried to relate themselves to gamer culture or tried to relate gamer culture to the mainstream audience in really cringe-worthy and awkward ways that caused so many great talking points on the internet afterwards. I didn't realise how much value they brought to the discussion of E3, and now that I've gotten what I wanted, what I've been asking for the last decade, now it's gone. I've realised how much I miss it.
But I do know what you mean. The overall like out of touch nature of some of these publishers did bring about a certain charm. And it's like, hey, you can't really find this anywhere else with like these adults going, "What's up, fellow kids? Look at us." And I am sad to see that go, but I'm also happy that we're happy to see all these games now, and that they're presenting them not as they should, but we're getting closer to how they should be.
But the problem then becomes the fact that because we live in like the 24-hour promotion cycle that our culture has adopted. Every single week, every single day, 2 major announcements are brought out. Something in film, something in television, something in games, something in music. Keeps happening, keeps coming along. And that's the thing, is that now, without all the zaniness, the wackiness, the awkwardness, E3 is just a load of that stuff condensed into one weekend, instead of being a unique and awesome thing that was the thing that we only got once a year.
Yeah, I feel like not even. I feel like if we give it till the end of the decade, E3 won't be a big thing as it is now. It'll probably just be a very small thing. Like, because even now, developers like Nintendo and sometimes I think Sony did last year, or like just these small out there got these small little E3s spread about the place just to get out their information. They don't need E3 anymore because the internet has just grown so huge and so expansive that you can pretty much say, oh, hey, this is going to be a thing. Drop a trailer, boom, everyone's excited.
Yeah. After that misery, back to the celebrations. James, what is the next game you would like to discuss on your list?
Oh, well, it is a game you shit on earlier, Metro Exodus.
Oh, really? I didn't shit on it. I didn't shit on it. I just said it was overly scripted, and we don't really have an idea for how it's really gonna play. Like, what they showed us was a movie approximation of what they think Metro Exodus is gonna play like. I want to see how it really handles itself.
Okay, you're only shit on it a little. There's only
little bit.
A little speck.
And not even the game, more than just the way the game was presented to us. That was all.
Yeah. Well, I was so happy because I was not expecting a Metro game.
Yeah.
I thought as soon as THQ were gone and we've done all the Metro Redux games that are done, that's it, Metro's done. I was like, okay, I'm a bit sad, but hey, at least I've got 2 great games now.
Well, Metro's always been more of a PC franchise, so it's kind of the perfect game to announce the Scorpion with, because the Scorpion is very much trying to compete with the PC rather than present itself as a home console.
I did. I remember I did get the first game on PC, and then as soon as both games came out on PS4, I nicked that straight away because goddamn, 2 great games plus the content available. But the games themselves as like this stealth shooter in this constricted area. And you've just got to find your way through these mutations and the other evil human beings. And now the fact that we're reaching this new chapter of like people starting to emerge from the Metro and maybe start building a new life, which that just sounds really interesting to me because this universe has so much potential. And I'm happy that they're at least trying to go and fulfill that potential. Yeah. But we've only got the 1 trailer so far. We don't know what the story is going to be fully yet. But hey, they've got trains now.
Yeah,
they're actually using trains in a game called Metro.
Yeah, and also I actually really want to see where the like what the bits in between the combat are, because that was always the most interesting part of Metro for me, was like the fact that bullets were currency with the characters you got to meet in between missions. I always thought that was always the best bit of Metro. I would like to see more of that the next time they show off the game.
I'm just looking forward to how the story is going to progress now, because the last Metro Last Light did seem to end on a definite note. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what they do next.
Cool, yeah. My next game that I want to bring up, and once again, this is very much a caveat situation, and I don't know how they're going to do this, but from the makers of Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, comes A Way Out, a co-op prison break experience. Now this looks really good, because when you are playing as one character, doing one thing, your co-op partner has to coordinate with you and do something completely different.
Yeah, I did remember, and I didn't play the game, was it Two Brothers?
Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, which I highly recommend. Seriously, it'll only take you a couple of hours. I don't know how much it is on Steam or anything like that right now, but it is fantastic. It includes, and I say this without any hyperbole, the greatest button press in all of games history.
Oh, I may have to debate you on that one.
Oh, really? What's yours?
When the point in Metal Gear Solid 3 when you have to pull the trigger.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to debate that one day. That's a podcast for another day.
Yeah. Okay. You'll see what I mean though when you play. You'll see what I mean.
The issue that I have for this game seems to be that it can be hard enough to try and get a group of people to that play a multiplayer game online. Well, it may seem even harder to try and get one of your friends round just to play a game and then stick with that game for at least a few hours. So I'm gonna be curious on how if they have a system where you can go online and play with someone, but I just find it hard to go and find someone to play it with you and commit that many hours to it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm sort of feeling with that right now as well. I want to play this game on my own, but just like Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, despite the fact they had 2 characters in it, you could not play that game co-op. You have to play that game as a single player. This looks very much a kind of game that they've designed from the ground up to be co-op only. That is almost impossible to play. I don't know, like maybe there's a version of it they could make a heavily compromised version where basically you play one character at a time. Because I can't see you being able to have AI in this character. What they're doing looks too sophisticated.
Yeah.
If they get trapped in a loop, like I have no idea how they get out of it. But yeah. Okay, James. Sorry, what was that?
I was going to say, I hope that there was a way around it, and you can let other people play with you and do it. Yeah. Or if there's a way you can do it on your own, I hope that's the case. It just seems interesting. It definitely seems interesting, and I'm intrigued to see what happens.
Cool, nice one.
Develops.
What's your number one?
My last game. This was in no particular order. Yeah. Last game I put on the list is Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Oh, nice, yeah. That was actually at the very beginning, like, that was EA's conference, which is all the way back on Saturday, so you're going to have to refresh my memory on that one, I'm afraid.
Basically, the first one, but with all the content. So, you've got... It is all the stuff that I like from Star Wars Battlefront. You've got the amazing sound design. You've got the controls, which were just great, and you've got the setting, the setting, and everything. If you love Star Wars, you will love Star Wars Battlefront. And now they've got even more reason to love it, given the fact that they're bringing you back all the way to the prequels, which on paper might not sound like a great idea, but they're cutting all the bullshit. Yeah. So you're just able to do the cool battles. You either play as the droid or the stormtroopers, or the clone troopers at that time. And you're getting even more heroes to play as. You get to play as Rey. You get to play as Darth Maul. It's just it feels like they've listened. Yeah. And that's a very rare thing in this type of thing where people actually listen. Yeah,
I always thought, I always thought when people were complaining about Battlefield's lack of content that they were kind of wanting to eat their cake and have it. And the problem I've got with that complaint is that, yes, okay, a lot of games these days have meager content compared to their counterparts back in the day. But they've also got much shinier graphics, much more detailed character models, shiny pixel effects, and sparkles, and special effects that you could never do back in the day. And a lot of those things take up time, effort, manpower, and money. And when you're concentrating so hard on the graphics, which, let's face it, people demand the best graphics. If a game comes out and it doesn't look that great, especially in the multiplayer shooter arena, people are going to lose their shit and scream you out of the building. You're gonna have to take your lumps, and you're gonna have to lose a load of content if you want all of that stuff. I myself personally know a Battlefield guy who I know would not touch the game if it didn't have the crispest, the cleanest, the best graphics imaginable, because he refuses to go back to the old times. I offered to, like, when he said he was really disappointed with the modes on offer with the old Battlefield, I asked him why didn't he go back to the old Battlefield, and he goes, the graphics, no, like, I don't want to go backwards, I want to go forwards, and it's like, something has to give there. We're getting to the point now where video game graphics are so complex, are so detailed, something has to give if we want to keep marching forward and these graphics getting better and better and better.
And it seems like Star Wars Battlefront doesn't seem to have an issue when it comes to graphics because, oh my god, some of the like one of the trailers that they released just looked photorealistic at one point, and oh man, and apparently according to like some of the reports coming out of the game is that the DLC coming afterwards will be free.
Oh really? Oh wow.
Yeah,
awesome.
and I think they're going to try. I think they're going to try and go for an Overwatch type thing. Which, as I said earlier, I'm okay with Overwatch, but there's always going to be this thing in the back of my head of EA, just like, where can I squeeze more money out of people?
Microtransactions.
It's just this small, yeah, exactly. But how bad are they going to be?
Well, remember in the last game, the best gun in the whole game was available as a pre-order.
Yep, and that's how EA manages to screw itself out of popularity sometimes. But again, this is cautious optimism when it comes to what's going to happen next, because it seems like they have everything they need to make this a really good game.
Yeah. Okay.
Now
cool.
we just have to hope that they just don't fuck it up.
Yeah. Okay, my last game I want to discuss, which I know is a game that may cause some lively and heated debate between us. But my god, I now really want a Switch because I really want to play Mario v Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
But that game doesn't exist. The people on the internet told me so.
One person on the internet told me it exists, and that's the person I trust. So yeah. Mario vs. Rabbids Kingdom Battle. The fact that this game's Mario vs. Rabbids, bleh, don't care. That is a pairing that I don't really like. You know, actually, you know what? I'm going to say this. How dare you sully this great storied franchise, these great collection of brilliant characters, and soil it with your Mario crap.
Name one Rabbid character, Lee. I'll wait.
Okay, now I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to put the flame shields up and I'm just going to wait for all the hate to die down. Okay, yeah, that was a joke. No, but seriously, the fact that it's Mario vs. Rabbids, whatever, Nintendo can throw their franchises about however they want. The thing that really got me and the thing that's made me really excited for this is that this game is clearly an XCOM game. Oh my god, a Mario XCOM game. How weird, how wild, how unbelievable is that? Like, even the little symbols that denote cover are completely the same as what you would find in the XCOM games. You've got a little shield for full cover, and you've got a half shield for half cover. That's amazing.
It's like they had a dartboard at Nintendo HQ with like multiple franchises all on there. And it's like, okay, what can we do next for Mario? Rabbids with XCOM. There we go.
Okay,
game, people.
James, can I ask, did you have a problem with Mario having a gun?
I don't. No, what I found interesting is that some people are forgetting Kingdom Hearts exists.
And did he have a gun in that? Oh, no! Wait, is he in that at all? No, he can't be in that. Surely.
No. I'm just thinking that people have forgotten that. Someone at Disney decided to go. Let's join with Final Fantasy. That's not weird.
Yeah.
And then it become a franchise that's like making loads and loads of money.
Yeah.
So, and then for people to go Mario Rabbids, that doesn't work. It's like, well, it's going to happen. So just deal with it. But I don't have a problem with him shooting a gun. If it was an actual rifle, then I'd be a little bit confused. Yeah. I mean, but right now, if it was
an actual gun, if it was a Glock,
but it's like a cutesy gun. It's like, oh look, it's like a Mega Man type bullet thing. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually based off those like those chomping bullets that appeared in Super Mario 3, or maybe like the little ball and chain. Yeah. The little ball and chain you got in Zelda Link's Awakening and things like that. Like, it's not an actual gun, and for anybody who thinks that Mario lasering a bunch of Rabbids to death is weird, you are fine with him immolating turtles. Like, what do you think the Fire Flower power-up was in the previous Mario games? The dude was flaming things to death.
He's basically a mage.
He was cooking himself some mushroom soup in those games. Like, what are you talking about? Mario has had weaponry since Mario 3, since the original Super Mario Brothers. Hell, he hammered a monkey to death in his debut game of Donkey Kong.
It's just so different, but also combining familiar elements that it's kind of hard to not take notice.
I also think it's really awesome that you take a game that is so difficult, that is so obtuse, that requires so much patience and practice as something like XCOM, and you give it a family-friendly twist where people can go into it and they can just enjoy it how they want to.
Do you know what it's like? It's like the modding community just went crazy for XCOM.
Yeah, it is. It is exactly like that. Cool, dude. So is that everything that you had to discuss?
Yeah, we've pretty much discussed everything that I was interested in. There is one honourable mention that I want to bring up.
Oh, okay, your honourables. Yeah, go for it.
One that surprised me, definitely, was Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes, the remake. Yeah.
Yes.
Mind you, though, I've already brought one HD remake for Shadow of the Colossus. One came out for
PS4.
Yeah, one came out for PS3. I brought that, and I brought the Team Ico collection.
Oh, I've got that as well, man. Yeah. And I have no trouble with this because given what the PS4 is capable of, seeing from some of the footage that they released, I'm also happy because one of my friends, they never had a PS3, never had a PS2,
and now they got a PS4,
So and now they got the PS4. Now they'll be able to experience this game. So I'm actually happy for them.
Nice one, yeah. Okay, so anyway, guys, that's it. Thank you for listening to all of our ramblings. Please don't forget to like, to subscribe, to share, to comment, and if you agree or if you disagree. I have been Fight Like a Cow. You can find me on Twitter at Fight Like a Cow. And James, where can I find you?
You can find me on Twitter at JamesRT101.
Cool, guys. Thank you all, and I'll see you next week.